FHS season tickets.
Welcome into another episode of FHS Season Tickets. I'm Michael.
And I'm Nick.
And today we have a huge guest, probably the biggest guest we've ever had on the show. You've seen guys like Barrett Sleeve, but we have Shea Serrano of The Ringer. He writes for The Ringer, which is Bill Simmons' website. He also has one published book already and has a second book coming out. Can you tell us exactly what month Basketball and Other Things is coming out and tell them where to order it?
It comes out in October. You can order it wherever they sell books.
Okay, yeah, I'm really excited for that book. Nick, I know you're excited for this interview. Do you want to start off talking about the Spurs or other NBA action?
Well, I mean, seeing as we are based in Cleveland, we're a Cleveland team, I just want to get your reactions from last night's game, Cavs-Boston. Any post-game analysis that you can break down for us?
Yeah, here's some analysis. Kyrie Irving is a bad mother. Sure.
He
Here's
is.
your post-game analysis.
Yeah, I mean, is that gonna show up in the Warriors series? You think? I mean, that's what I'm looking forward to as a Cavs fan.
Of course it will. Why
You
would
think
it
so?
not?
I don't know. It hasn't been.
He's not afraid. He's never afraid of anything. He just fucking goes.
I feel that.
He's great.
I mean, Kyrie has been...
the reason y'all won last year. I mean, not the only reason, but it's a big. It's not like last year he just disappeared.
No,
When he put a 41 in Game 5 that got everything started, and then of course the shot in Game 3. I mean, in Game 7 to win it, he's great, man. I mean, y'all are still gonna get run off the court by the Warriors, but it won't be because Kyrie was afraid.
Yeah. Why do you think that?
Why do I think y'all are gonna get blown out?
Yeah.
Have y'all been watching the Warriors? That's why I think that y'all beat them last year. Which we're just ranking every single thing in the whole wide world. Last year was one of my favorite basketball watching experiences. I was really rooting for y'all. I really wanted to see LeBron get it done in Cleveland. Just the whole storyline that was fantastic. Y'all came back down 3-1. It's a great Game 7 on the road. But if we're playing devil's advocate here, Steph was hurt. Dre was out for a game. And y'all were mostly at full strength, and you barely got past them. And then they go and they add the second best basketball player on the planet to their team, and they're not hurt. Y'all are getting run off the court, man. I hate to tell you.
Yo, I feel that for every other team in the NBA, but I think with the superstar talent that the Cavs have, plus all matchups, you're gonna tell me that Zaza Pachulia and JaVale McGee are gonna keep Tristan Thompson, that bad man, off the boards, and you're gonna keep Love from going off. I just think matchup-wise, Durant's never been able to lock down LeBron. He never will be. He's too weak for that. So I just think that the Cavs have a chance. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be blowouts either way, though. I think it's two Titans going up against each other, like they've shown in the playoffs. One loss to the Boston Celtics in a Game 3 where clearly the Cavs didn't care, or the Cavs were just tired, or something was going on. I don't think that dictates the fact that they almost went perfect in the East too. So I think it's a matchup of Titans. There's no way in my mind that they're blowout games, or there might be blowout games. It's not going to be a blowout series. What do you have to say, Mike?
Last night during the game, when you're watching it, and the Celtics should have won that game. They just ran out of gas, but they were slicing up Cleveland's defense. Y'all's defense is horrible. Y'all keep trying to pretend like it's not horrible. It's really bad when that ball gets to zipping around on offense, and that's exactly what the Warriors do. They just move it and move it and move it until your legs fall off. And I'm telling you now, man, y'all are getting blown out.
I have been on record multiple times to predict the Warriors to win the title.
I'll call you up in June.
I mean, I think this Warriors team is one of... I know you're going to laugh at this. One of the best basketball NBA teams of all time.
I didn't say so. I didn't say it's not.
With the amount of talent they have, I am worried about the Cavs' defense. They do have a lot of older guys, but I feel like the Cavs, with guys like LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love is the big three, and also a ton of guys who can score off the bench, even starters like Tristan Thompson. You got J.R. Smith, you got Richard Jefferson, Deron Williams. I feel like the
Bench
Cavs
depth for Warriors
have...
is
yeah, they have a lot more depth than the Warriors, and they'll be able to stay with them. I think it's probably like a 6-game series that the Warriors win, but I don't think the Cavs are getting run off the court. Another thing last year that a lot of people don't realize is that 6 of the 7 games were blowouts. Really, the only close game was Game 7. So I do expect the Cavs to get blown out maybe once or twice, but I also think the Cavs will blow out the Warriors in one game. It just what happens in the other 3 or 4 games, that's going to make the difference. And I'm really interested, you being the diehard Spurs fan, Game 1, before Kawhi went down, the Warriors were looking really beatable. I know you were running the Ringer Twitter account at the time. Can you tell me about your emotions and why you think that that's not going to happen in the finals?
Because y'all don't have Kawhi Leonard. That's why. If y'all had Kawhi, maybe. No, that was a good game for the Spurs and a bad game for the Warriors. Is all that was. We saw the same thing happen in the in the Houston Spurs series, where Houston was incredible game 1 and the Spurs had a bad game, and like everything that could go right in game 1 went right. The Spurs were hitting like nearly 60% of their shots. The Warriors were shooting in the 40s. It was just all flowing until Kawhi went. And when Kawhi went down, it was a train wreck. To speak to your point about the Warriors being one of the best or most dominant teams, right now, statistically, they are the most dominant team in the history of the playoffs. They've won their games by an average of 16.3 points per game, which is the most ever. After them, it's like the 2001 Lakers, who were 15.5, and then the Bucks from 1971, who were 15.4. But yeah, nobody has beat teams like the Warriors are beating teams, which is just.
Can we not pretend that a hurt Portland, a hurt Utah Jazz team, and a hurt Spurs team are like this major competition that the West is spoken out to be?
Yeah, if you would have dropped that Utah team would have been in the conference finals. That Spurs team would have been in the conference finals if you're putting them in the East. Like they're.
Well, yeah, I know compared to the East is weak, but I'm saying historically, them winning by 16 to like a hurt Jazz team without Gobert or like a hurt Gobert at least we can say.
And then no George Hill.
No George Hill, and then Kawhi, Parker, all gone from the Spurs. Like them winning by that much of a margin, like in historical context, I like the analytics to the Warriors being one of the most dominant teams of all time. I mean, I agree just by the eye test, but I don't think saying that they're beating these teams by 16.5 points is anything remarkable.
Yeah, well, just have fun when that buzzsaw hits you in the forehead.
So now we're going to switch gears to more the Spurs. With after the Spurs obviously lost to the Warriors with a very banged-up roster, what direction do you think the Spurs take now, considering they're rumored with guys like Chris Paul? I can maybe see Kyle Lowry going there. What do you want the Spurs to do, and how do you think they remain competitive in the NBA?
All I want for the Spurs to do is trade LaMarcus, and that's all we need to do. I think the young guys played well enough to give us a little bit of hope, especially the point guard position. I really like DeJounte. In two more years of him being in the playoffs, he'll be carved out of wood and ready to go.
I like Kyle Anderson too. Like I like that big guard the big guard he gives.
Kyle Anderson was one of my favorite college players. Also, DeJounte Murray, a steal in the draft. He was maybe a lottery pick, and then he fell all the way to the Spurs, one of the last selections.
Yeah. I think that's really all they need to do. I'm sure they'll try to bring in somebody. Although, I mean, we saw what happened when you try to bring in a big piece. Like that's just not the way the Spurs are built. You know what I'm saying? We don't bring in big name guys because they haven't been vetted. Like when we brought in LaMarcus, everyone was super excited, and then he got there and it was like, oh shit, we forgot that he didn't grow up in the NBA as a San Antonio Spur. He's got a whole different aura about him, and it didn't work. I think we need to just stay bringing these young guys up, give Jonathan Simmons some money, give DeJounte some money, give Kyle some money, let Dedmon just run loose for a few weeks. See what he can do, because he wasn't terrible. Like when they would bring him in, he was fine. All we need is a guy that fucking gets some rebounds and bang down low, and Dedmon ain't afraid to do that. So let's give him a shot.
So you think that In terms of the question about the acquisitions, do you think bringing a guy like Chris Paul and Kyle Lowry would be a bad idea?
Yeah, I don't want those guys on the team. I mean, I don't want them on there because of philosophical reasons. Like, I just don't. Those guys aren't, to me, Spurs.
Yeah.
Just because they've been everywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't like that idea. But also, I just don't think that would fit that well. Chris Paul might. He seems like he would be okay, but he also seems like he's not super interested in being coached very hard.
Yeah.
So, but that's just like I don't know anything about him at all beyond what I've seen in the game.
No, I like that
I
take.
might be totally wrong. He might be really into it.
Every single Spurs team had just people that grew up in the system, so that's a pretty good take.
That's something I feel like the Spurs, I hate to compare it to an NFL team because the NBA and NFL are so different, but I feel like they're like the Green Bay Packers in the way that so many of the Green Bay Packers players are drafted through the system, and those are the guys that really have success. Green Bay has 3 times fewer the amount of players on their team that weren't drafted than any other team in the league, and the Spurs also do a great job of that in developing the players that they do draft. But the one problem I have with this theory is that the Spurs are always so successful. They're always in the playoffs. They always have a great regular season, not getting the big picks. And they really hit on Kawhi Leonard so well that I'm not too sure if you can continue doing that. Shea, are you concerned that you're building around a couple of guys that you're taking in the late 20s in the first round and second rounders? Do you just think that the Spurs are going to be fine building around them, or would you like to see them? I know you don't want to pick up anybody else, but I feel like you might have to, especially to compete with the Warriors.
No, I think that they'll be fine because all you need the one big superstar, and then a bunch of just pieces around them, which we have proved that works for the last 15 years. After.
So you don't think Manu and Tony?
David retired.
So you don't think Manu and Tony were the superstars, those big superstars?
They were big superstars, absolutely, but they weren't high draft picks, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, got you.
They're second round guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
so we already have the big star. We've got Kawhi, who's probably the third best player in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
We've got that piece. We've got the guy who you give the ball to in the last 2 minutes, and he just gets the job done. We've got the guy who, when the other team is going on a run, he stops the run. He guards their best player. He gets the bucket that the other guys can't. We've got that piece, which is the most important piece. Now we just fill in around him. Now we need the new Tony, which I'm hoping is DeJounte. We need the new Manu, which we don't have yet, but we will eventually, I'm sure. And bring me some more championships. Bring me 4 more championships.
Nick, do you have any last NBA questions till we kind of switch topics?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get your thoughts. It's a big debate. We already kind of glossed over it about how good Kawhi is at this time. I've heard best two-way player in the NBA, best this, best that. Where do you think he ranks in the NBA right now?
I've got him third. LeBron is first, of course, and then KD, who's been second forever. It's him and KD, and then Kawhi, which I really wanted. That's why I wanted the Spurs Warriors series, mainly because I wanted Kawhi against Durant, and then you can take his spot as the second best player. But right now Kawhi's third.
Yeah,
which is really unbelievable to think about.
Yeah, a guy who could not shoot coming out of San Diego State. Just the transition that Kawhi Leonard made was absolutely incredible. All right, Nick, you have anything else?
No, I like those songs.
Any questions you have for us before we wrap it up?
No, I think we covered everything. We're good to go.
Okay, thanks so much for coming on. Remember, you guys can pre-order basketball and other things online on, I believe, Amazon and other places. You can also get the Rap Yearbook. Also, make sure to follow Shea on Twitter. Big fan
Shea,
of his work.
I'll call you in June after the Cavs win, all right? I'll call you at the parade. See you, buddy.
Yeah, let me know how that goes.